Adaire. This is TV from me, TV for you by TV from me. I always get that line wrong. I've got to practice that. I know. This is where we talk to you about, I bring you people in our community who are doing amazing things to add value to the lives of people around them. It could be anything from meditation, a yoga class, physical fitness, healing, tarot card readings, even gardening or vegan cooking. Whatever you want, whatever your interests are, we have it here for you. I'm live at 2 p.m. every Wednesday at Australian Central Standard Time, and I'm Adaire Palmer. Today, I would love to introduce you to Juliet Lever. Now, Juliet, let me find her bio here, is quite a remarkable girl, and she is an Australian life coach who believes we are all born for a reason and that we all have the ability to make the most of live our most fulfilling lives. And Juliet, 4 years ago, just 4 years ago, and now I'm just going to cock this up. Let me rewind, start again. Introducing Juliet Lever. She is an Australian life coach who believes we're all born for a reason and that we have the ability to live our most fulfilling lives. Juliet transformed her own life just 4 years ago. There was the key line that was missing. And now has dedicated her life to supporting people to pursue their dreams and discover their highest potentials in life. She's a certified yoga teacher, NLP Master, teaching NLP certificates, Reiki Master, hypnotherapist, and a licensed resiliency coach with Heart Math, and has been running her own international coaching business, Relaunch My Life, full-time for 4 years now. She's hosted women's transformational retreats in Adelaide and in Bali for the past three years, and in 2017 has published her best-selling self-help book, Relaunch My Life, which is a teaching memoir documenting how she changed her life with the activities for you to follow along the way. Oh, my Lord. Welcome, Juliet.
Hi, Adaire. Thank you. That was a big mouthful. Sorry for putting you through that.
I know. I just seriously stumbled over my tongue a couple of times there. But I think, you know how we get 10,000 words a day to use? Well, yeah. Women speak about 10,000 words a day. I think I've used all mine, so I'm going to let you talk, Juliet. It's a pleasure to have you on Community TV with Adaire today. Share with us how you came to be doing what you're doing. And like 4 years, you're saying that.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I think this is a really exciting medium to be able to share and spread my message. And I want to thank you for the work that you're doing in the world. It's amazing. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey the last 4 years. I feel like, I feel like I've been doing it forever because I know that it's what I'm born this lifetime to do. And I know that I'm accessing wisdom from many, many lives as well, and really bringing that into this purpose that I feel like I have been, I guess, aligned to now, and I had such a big journey. If I were to backtrack and just share with you the woman that I was 5 years ago, I had a pretty big wake-up call. I was sort of in my mid to late 20s, and I had from the outside, that perfect life. I had the successful job, I was married, had a nice car, tick, 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 all of that stuff. But underneath, I was actually kind of living a bit of a lie, and I wasn't happy, but I hadn't acknowledged it and I hadn't realized it myself. And it wasn't until one day I was asked by a complete stranger, Juliet, what do you do outside of work? And I stopped for a second and I had this, I don't know if you've ever had that feeling before, but I had this gut-wrenching feeling of, I can't answer this question honestly, because if I was honest with this stranger right now, and I'm being honest with myself in this moment for the first time probably ever in my life, I don't do anything outside of work besides eat chocolate and drink alcohol and spend money on clothes. That's the sad reality that I'm living. And I had this real moment of what on earth have I done to create this life that's just so empty? And so that one conversation, I replied to the stranger and said something, I hang out with friends and do, go to nice restaurants. Yeah. But inside, that conversation just shifted something so much for me. And it really made me start asking myself some difficult questions. And so I started researching, how to find yourself. And I started looking into meditation, and I started looking into all this stuff, which honestly, 5 years ago, when I started looking into it, wasn't nearly as mainstream as it is today. I felt like, I felt so out of place. And I remembered going to a meditation information day at a local workshop place here in Adelaide called the WEA, and I was the youngest person there by about 40 or 50 years. And it's not that it's not a bad thing, but I thought, well, where's all the people my age wanting to find these answers and wanting to learn these things? And now fast forward to today, it's such a different space, and it's so exciting, because that to me just shows that so many people are overcoming their fears and really being of service to this world and realizing what people need, and they're responding to that need as well. So gosh, from that point, I had to make a lot of lifestyle changes. The more I really found myself and my values and who I was, and I learned more about the power of our mind, and just started getting obsessed with studying everything and anything that I could about how to create a life that feels amazing. It did cause, some cracks in my relationship, and it ended up that I ended my marriage. And then I got so obsessed with, looking into all sorts of things that I started studying things that then enabled me to start doing coaching and life coaching on weekends. And then I got so busy on the weekends that I had to quit my job. And so in the space of about 18 months after that first wake up call, I had to completely relaunch my life. And that's what coined the name of my business and the book that I've written and everything that I do now, because I believe I had a second chance at life, and I believe anyone can, and it's never too late. So yeah, it's been an amazing few years.
It's a beautiful story, Juliet, and thank you for sharing with us. I would just like to acknowledge we've got Roz here and Suze as well. Thank you for joining us. There's a couple of others that popped in. If you do join us, please invite your friends to and share. So that would be awesome, because this sort of information, I think, as Juliet said, it is something that is becoming more and more mainstream. But then I go, is it? Because I worked in a very male-dominated environment. I was in corporate and government and corporate. And when I left there, and that was a wake-up call for me too, I just crawled out there barely alive. And it took me quite a few years to actually relaunch myself and my life as well. And I'm just so pleased with you, that you sort of found it in your 20s. Would you say your late 20s, early 30s? And I had to wait till I was in my mid-40s. So I think it's your timing is when you're ready for it, and you just never know. Some people just go through lives and never become ready for it, but some people do have that wake-up call and take advantage of it. So thank you, Roz, for sharing. She's saying she's shared it to her timeline, not sure which one.
She's doing well, though.
She is. You can actually click the invite button and invite people in to watch the live broadcast as well as sharing. And we do appreciate this, because all this sort of information is something that, so you're saying something from a younger woman's perspective, and I've got a perspective of someone who's got a few years under their belt and had the wake up call a little bit later in life. And I think that, sort of the message is, it's never too late or never too early.
No.
It's and I think one of the things that I found for me, and it's not all about me, but just quickly, that I found that I struggled with my religious upbringing, because when you're brought up as a strict Methodist, or I don't think I was Uniting Care back then, but that was the sort of thing that this was New Age woo-woo, and it was something that was really frowned upon, even though it's so much more empowering than the religious doctrine. And I might offend some people by saying that out loud, but so be it.
You're so right. You're so right. And it can be so scary to step away from what you've grown up being, taught to judge or, believe. And it's such a powerful thing. I mean, I was the biggest skeptic towards anything spiritual at all, which is just hilarious. I remember one of my staff at work told me she had done a Reiki course, and I thought she was crazy. And then the way the universe works, now that I'm a Reiki master, it was about 4 years after that I actually attuned her to Reiki too. And I thought, well, isn't that ironic? Isn't that ironic? It just comes full circle. So, yeah.
Roz is saying, haha, Methodist, that's my history
That's her
as well.
history
That's
as well.
why we connect, Roz. Roz is also a fellow hypnotherapist and NLP practitioner. I don't know if you know Roz and IRL.
I did my hypnotherapy training at the same time as Roz about 4 years ago.
Oh, there you go.
With Paul. Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Well, it is Adelaide, and it really, it really is so cool. In terms of helping people, like you said, I saw in your bio that I attempted to read out a couple of times and finally nailed it. Oh dear, Ross is saying my dad threw away my first ever tarot cards when I was 15. I saved out my own pocket money to buy them. Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Do you know my dad gave me on my 14th birthday, while we're sharing stories of childhood traumas, he gave me a Bible for my 14th birthday. And I unwrapped it for my birthday, and I just looked at it and I burst into tears and I ran out of the room. I just thought, seriously.
He's like, I know exactly what Adaire would want. I know what she would want. This is the perfect gift.
And then he must have felt a little bit bad about it, because I think about a week later, another present appeared in my room, and it was actually a bright orange alarm clock. That might have been a hint to get out of bed and go to school on time. But I do remember that Bible, and I remember that feeling of like, oh my God, my parents don't even like me because they've given me. It was just really interesting, because there you go. And Roz is giving you a shout out. You're fantabulous at what you do. It's so
thanks,
cool.
Roz.
So let's get back to the retreats.
Hi.
Take two. Now, these things happen not regularly, but they do happen with new technology, and sometimes there's some bugs in the system, which is, so I'm frozen. Did I freeze like this?
No, you looked beautiful, actually.
I'll have to go back and take a screenshot of it then. So now your journey that led you, I'm really curious about these Bali retreats, because it's something that my husband and I had talked about doing for families, and we seem to have moved a little way away from that. But I'd love to know about your experience and how that came about, because it's a pretty big undertaking.
I think it's actually perfect the way that it came about. I think it was 2 months after I had ended my marriage and left my husband, I went to Bali, and I went on a 7-day retreat in Ubud, and it was called Escape the World. And I hadn't really practiced much yoga up until that point, and it was a yoga retreat, but it also involved a day of silence, and that was what really attracted me to the retreat. I thought, gosh, I need to have just a day of silence. I've never done that before, and I was actually a little bit scared and nervous to do it, actually. So I went to Bali, and I had this beautiful retreat, and there was about 12 other people there, and I did yoga every day and met some lovely people. There were 3 girls actually from Adelaide. Out of a group of 12 from people all over the world, 3 of us were from Adelaide. So that was incredible. And it was on the silent day actually that I had spent the whole day meditating, journaling, really just being with myself. And I wrote in my journal on the evening of the silent day, wow, I would love to start my own business someday, and maybe even one day take women to Bali so that they can find themselves the way that I have on this retreat. And I remembered instantly in that moment, the first thought that I had was like a dream crusher thought, and it was, who would want to come on a retreat with you? I had one of those negative thoughts straight away, but the seed had been planted. And so then, fast forward a year, and I had actually started my business, and I'd started coaching and working with people. I still had this seed planted of like, gosh, that Bali retreat was so transformational. I want to take women on these retreats. And so I am a really big believer of, you've got to see it as possible for yourself before the world can. So, I was like, I've just decided I'm a retreat facilitator. And so I did a local Adelaide retreat, and then I changed my Instagram handle, little name on my Instagram handle, and it said retreat facilitator. And then I promise you, it was 2 days later, I got a message from a lady who I met. She was an American yoga teacher. She messaged me and she said, hey, I noticed you're a retreat facilitator. I'm running my first ever Bali yoga retreat. Would you come and help be one of the facilitators and do a workshop at it? You'd have to pay for your own flights, but, the accommodation will be subsidized. You don't have to pay for the retreat. I just need your help with, supporting the group. And I said yes, straight away, jumped on the plane a couple of months later and went and facilitated at the retreat. And it was so amazing because I got to witness what to actually do and the types of things to be mindful of. And a few things went wrong on the retreat. So I learned a lot about, how to hold space with a group that's overseas, because there's a lot of, comfort zones that are pushed, especially when you're in a country like Indonesia. And so then I planned my first ever Bali retreat for the next year, the same time the next year. And it sold out within about 2 months. And that was 12 women at my first retreat. And so I just thought, for me, if things are aligning and you've got that right energy and you just put it out there and you know why you're doing it, like the universe responds and takes care of it. And so I've run 3 now. I did them every year for the last 3 years. And then this year, I really got the message that this will be the last one. And I ran the best ever retreat that I ever could in Bali, and sort of have closed that chapter for the time being, which I feel great about, because I do believe that, we're constantly evolving in business, and I'm not the type of person that just will do the same thing for the rest of my life, clearly now, since I've just been awakened to this whole new way of living. So loved it. And now I'm really just focusing on teaching the NLP and the Reiki workshops, because that really does take a lot of energy and focus. So.
Oh, that's amazing. So Roz is saying learning from the doing. What a great way to move forward. I
Definitely.
call it mulling, learning out loud, which is what I do quite often here and in our communities, because it is, if we are evolving and we're trying to keep ahead of that, what we're evolving to be into, then we are always constantly moving and changing. And I think that's a really scary thought. But I think with people like you, who can help people, and even, I guess, the guiding and getting them to trust that where they're headed. So when you say that you do your workshops for Reiki and NLP, do you teach hypnotherapy as well?
No, my partner Paul does.
Yep. And so you actually, so when you do that, you're looking for people, you teach people who come in and do it for personal growth and personal development. Or So
generally Reiki 1 really is about self-healing, so that's for personal growth. The laugh out loud is relevant in the live arena, definitely. And I think that's actually, I just wanted to say on that point, is I think it's really refreshing, because there's so many presenters and people out there that everything they do is perfect. And I think that holds so many people back, that they go, oh, I couldn't do that until it's perfect. But when you show that it's okay to be, it's really authentic, the way that you're doing it. It's good. I do it too. So I think it's good.
So we can do a village people, yay.
Just always stay positive no matter what's happening. Yay, it's dropped out again. Yay, no worries.
Whatever. And Roz is a raving fan by the looks of it, and Roz is also saying start from where we are. So sorry, but thank you for that. And I think it's great, because we are not, I don't think we're meant to be journalists. We're meant to be ordinary people interacting and connecting, communicating, and sharing our gifts with the world with other ordinary people. So
Definitely. Look, and I think back to your question, with the courses, I think it is two-pronged. Some people are interested in learning NLP because they want to help someone else. But, I believe in the heal thyself. You first want to make sure that you've worked on yourself before you start working with others. And so the beautiful thing, like with the NLP training, is that it's almost like I talk about, it's like layering a delicious cake, because all throughout the training, you're going through processes and techniques as a coach and a client. So you get to let go and build confidence, let go, build confidence, let go, build confidence. But at the end of the week, it's this beautiful, structure that you've got where you feel really confident and so much lighter, because you've actually experience the processes yourself and let go, and I think that's really cool. So I think the best way to help others is to help yourself. And so whether you're wanting to work with other people, the best thing is, you know, and the one thing I always kind of say as a coach is the easier you let things go as a coach, the easier your clients will let things go, because they'll reflect whatever's happening for you as well. So it's really good to work on yourself, because it ends up helping everything and everyone. So.
And I think that's actually, what did they say? Oh, I can't even remember who said it. Be the change you want to see in the world.
Was it Gandhi? I think it was Gandhi.
I think it might have been. It might have been. And
we could do like a quote pop quiz.
Yeah, we could. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You get a free session with Juliet if you get it right. No, I'm giving away your time, which is probably very precious. Rosa is saying being a witness to other people's growth is something that's really special. And I absolutely agree, having been involved in the training for Master Practitioner for NLP and done some intensive stuff, hypnotherapist myself as well. It is one of the things that I found about that is like, as far as personal growth goes, it really is amazing. And then, but it's like, now another quote, it's like hygiene. You have to practice it every day, because otherwise you lose the skill. Did you want to make a comment about that?
Well, this is exactly why I'm teaching the trainings, is because I've been coaching and working with clients for 4 years now. And I've had clients that will come back after a year or two and want more sessions and things. And for me, it's really about giving them and empowering them to have the skills to know how to practice their hygiene every day, you know, and I think it's about going deeper. And that's what I noticed with the retreats, is you can give people skills and tools and things at a retreat, but there sometimes is an expectation that, you know, you'll go on a retreat and everything will be fixed. But that's not the case. You know, we're never fixed. We're never done. We're constantly creating karma and having life experiences. So to actually have now places where people can learn skills that they're going to have for the rest of their life, and be able to pay them forward as well, and use them with their kids or their workplace or their clients. You know, it's even if people aren't looking at becoming a coach, just still learning these skills helps them to interact at such a higher level, I think. And I think, if you've done Master Practitioner too, you see the world with such a different lens, don't you?
Well, you do. And I think it's quite interesting again, because I know when I don't continually hone and continually, you know, keep in that mindset or that way of being, it is very easy to fall back, which is something, I think it's a great trap. My son actually did the hypnotherapy certification when he's 13. He did his Master Prac NLP when he was 14, and on his 15th birthday he spent a weekend with his dad doing the life coaching through the Life Coaching Institute. So we're a whole family. Roz is saying another layer off the onion. Oh, damn, that onion's big. But what I find is it's interesting going through that process as a family too, because I started the journey and you know, sort of hubby and son went, well, I want a bit of what she's having, because I'd made some pretty significant changes not in my life, but in the way I saw things and the way I reacted and the way I handled things. And so we all ended up going on that journey together, which is really cool. But and
quickly too, like they would have seen you change. I think that's the thing is, you know, these aren't things, even if we've carried them our whole lives, it doesn't mean we have to hold them another week. It's, you know, some people have this thing of like, oh, but I've had this problem for 30 years, so it's going to take me 30 years to fix it. No, it doesn't have to. And I think people can be skeptical of the whole, you know, it's too good to be true if it gets cleared that quickly. And that's the problem with these kinds of processes that really do work, is people can't believe how, if they work, we don't all know about them. And that's how I felt when I first learned them. And I'm sure you as well. But the ripple effect of your change makes such a difference. And Roz has said that technology changes and upgrades all the time, and so we do too, and our mindset and perspective changes continually. So you're so right, Roz, and it's a really exciting time to be alive, don't you think? Because I mean, look what we're doing right now. Roz is in, I don't know if she's still in Port Elliot, but I'm, you know, here, and you're in your house, and yet we're all connecting. So it's really cool.
We're all connecting. We're all having a conversation, and we're all sharing the, you know, the gifts and talents that we have with with the world and people, and this is broadcasting out to places that through cross-posting on, that there's just an amazing opportunity. I think also when we get better, our world gets better, like you were saying before. And I found that there are so many people that I was hanging on to before I started that journey that were just not good for me. And you said that yourself, that things started to happen in your life, and that's, I think, really scary, because you mentioned started to talk about conditioning, what conditioning is, and how our beliefs and our that we hang on to them so goddamn tightly. And I think I did hang on to a lot of them, and I'm still hanging on to stuff I know, because I can feel the blocks. Whereas before I would just get angry and frustrated. Now I'm going, okay, well, there's a block. Do I want to work through it, or do I want to have a pity party first?
Yeah. And so sometimes it's nice to be human, like just go like, and then you can know you've got the process to work through it. So that's a really good point. And you made me kind of think about as well, for me, one of my highest values is honesty and integrity. And so that high value for me was what made my decision to end my marriage so challenging, because I'd stood in front of all my closest friends and family and made this big public commitment. And then 3 years after getting married, I was at this point where I'm like, this is not right for either of us. And that was such a hard thing. And I think people really do feel stuck sometimes. And it's because of those decisions that we have to make that really help us question who we are and what really matters to us in our life. And you've got to almost become what you don't like. And, I had to become someone that, that ended a commitment that was made at such a public level, but the only way out was through. And so I just had to kind of do it. Otherwise we would have kept sort of making each other miserable. And now he's remarried and got a kid, and I've found Paul, and just doing what I'm meant to be doing, and it's just such an amazing journey. So much better.
It is amazing. And that's when you're true, when you really are true to yourself. And Ross, I'm
not sure if you can all still see me, but I'm just going to keep talking because, I really think that overcoming fear is something that, we all have to do when we make big decisions or we're moving forward in our lives. And just to always remember, fear is such a powerful illusion. We think that it's real, and that feeling that we get when we've got to make a really big decision can just cause us to stop in our tracks. But I've always found that the best way to overcome fear is just by stepping into action, and almost by, calling that fear, calling its bluff. And if you can call its bluff, you can step forward and you can make the decisions that you need to make. And a really good question to ask is, am I making this decision because of fear or because of love? I'm glad that you can hear me. Just when you've got those decisions in your life, asking, is this a decision that I'm making out of fear or love? And that one question can help you to drop into that courage and that decision that you need to make, no matter if it's scary, and I'm glad that you can all still see me. Thank you, Roz. Thanks, Suze. So hopefully Adaire will be back in just a moment. I'm just going to keep talking. And she told me if this happened to just keep on communicating with you all. So it's really important to know that, it's an illusion, and you don't want to hold your life back in fear. And there's so many people, and if you're watching this video as well, then you're probably not doing that anymore. Or if you are, you're aware of it, and so you know that there are things that you can do to change it. And I'm a really big believer that, at the end of your life, when you look back on your life, you want to have known that you've lived fully and you've made the decisions that really light your soul up inside, and not, held back. Hi, you're back.
Hello, I'm back. I can hear and see you. I didn't know that anything was wrong, so I'm glad you said something, and I'm glad we've got Susan, we've got Roz, and they've got our back. So wonderful, girls. Thank you so much.
You probably just thought, what is Juliet talking about? I haven't asked her anything.
And the girls were saying, yes, we can see you. Yes, Adaire, they could see me, but you couldn't. So I just refreshed, and now I'm back. But we are out of time. I really do appreciate you sharing that about the fear, because it's something, the biggest thing, I believe the biggest thing that we can move through that. And my testimony, like my litmus test is, if I feel the slightest bit scared about something, I know I have to do it. That's all. Totally. I go, if there's fear, then I know I have to do it, because it means that I'm in for a bit of a leveling up, or I'm in for a growth, or I'm in for, and it's like facing it head on. But I tell you what, there's still some stuff that I avoid and I actively avoid, but I know I'm doing it. I'll how many fears can you deal with at once? I'll just get, they'll roll out when and if you don't deal with them, they just keep coming back and biting you on the ass. So
yeah. So true. Yeah.
So we are and Roz is saying love is best, and Suze is saying totally whatever that, and Roz is a fast typist. On you, Roz. Appreciate you.
She is.
So we are out of time now. I do have to move because, so glad we're all human and have challenges. What would life be if it just was swimming? But this is fantastic. So now I've got to find the agenda, and it's gone. If you want to grab a beginner's guide to meditation, you can just comment meditate. I don't know if I said that, but you can just comment meditate below. If you're watching the replay, thanks for joining us. And Roz, and there's a few people popped in, but they haven't been active, so we've got some lurkers. But if you're lurking,
hello, love to the lurkers.
Hello to the lurkers. I'm sure you've enjoyed today's community TV with Adaire. Juliet, is there any final words that you would like to share, or any events or workshops you've got coming up that you would like to direct us to? Juliet's page is linked above here, above this broadcast, if you want to visit her over there. So
definitely,
what have you got coming up?
Just that, all you have to do is take one step every day in the right direction, and it builds. So after 3 years, you'll have taken over 1,000 steps in the right direction. The worst action you can take is no action. So even if it's not perfect, at least if you're moving in that right direction, even if it's tiny steps, it's still going to accumulate. And yes, I have my NLP practitioner training happening end of August, the last 2 weekends in Adelaide. I have another one in November, and then Reiki is September. So reach out. My book is also available on, stockists all around Adelaide. So reach out, grab a copy and have a good read, and it'll inspire you to sort of start taking steps in the right direction to relaunch your life. So thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Is your book on Amazon?
It's on Amazon Kindle. It's on Audible as well. There's a audio version. A lot of people like listening to that one in the car. So yeah, you can jump on and
I'm doing that. Any book that's Audible, I've just signed with the publisher yesterday, so I'm doing my book too. Yay. So it's like really scary,
awesome.
Really exciting. And so I've got some credits on Kindle, on Audible, so I'll grab yours as well. So that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. So Suze, if you want to get the book, the Beginner's Guide to Meditation, you'll need to comment as yourself, not your business page, hun. And I think you may have already done it, but please do. There we go. Roz is saying thank you. And thank you for joining us. Thanks, the lurkers. Don't go anywhere. I'll just drop you down and I'll wind up and see if I can do a better wind up than I did an intro. And I'll just talk to you in a moment. So there we go. Juliet Lever from Relaunch My Life, amazing NLP practitioner, hypnotherapist, and she's training people. So go to her page above. There's a link above in the post here. If you want to get a copy of a beginner's guide to meditation, it's free. Just comment meditate and you'll be taken straight to a link where you can grab your free guide. Thanks, Suze. Brilliant. I'm Community TV with Adaire. No, I'm Adaire, and I bring you Community TV with Adaire on mytimetv.live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Australian Central Standard Time. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.